All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to On the Bench. We're here with episode 2. Again, this is now day 10 of our Match of Day Advent calendar. If you haven't seen any of that, check out our Instagram. We've got our little fun Advent calendar graphic, comes up every day. A lot more information every day about what's going on through the Christmas period for us. Just very quickly introduce, we've got our Wellbeing Officer again, Tao, and a Legacy member, Liv. And then I'm sure you all remember Josh Braxton from last year.
Hi.
All right, let's get straight into this Champions League. Obviously, a big talking point at the moment. Finished the group stage this week. Some big results, I think, going some teams' ways. I know for me, a bit disappointing. But if we just quickly talk about the results for this first week, anyone got any games they want to pick up on?
Barca is shit.
Yeah. I think everyone was expecting. I think everyone was expecting a little bit more from Bayern actually. Maybe a similar repeat to that 8-2 that we've seen in the past. But I think
as well because now Jordi Alba and Depay are injured from it as well.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly great.
Yeah, obviously they're dropping down into the Europa League now, so be interesting to see how they get on there. But yeah, I think everyone was expecting Bayern to win that game. I think it was pretty convincing. Probably could have seen a couple more goals, but at this point in the season, when you don't want to throw everything in the kitchen sink at a game that is not even necessary to your season, I think it was pretty much as we expected. So apart from that, I think one game I definitely want to pick up on is the Dortmund game, 5-0. Very convincing. Nice to see Haaland getting back on the score sheet. There was a couple of goals coming off the bench. I think for once, actually, a relatively impressive defensive display. I didn't see much go wrong. I think Besiktas offered a bit in the first half, but kind of as the goals went in, the game kind of died off. So
good momentum for Dortmund going into Europa League. Obviously, it's a shame they missed out, but it's good result to keep the momentum.
Well, I think it's going to be an important momentum game for the league as well, knowing that they're challenging Bayern at the moment. We've seen Bayern drop some points in the league, so could be a chance now for Dortmund to kick on, focus on the league and see how they go. I think a couple of other ones, Liverpool, Man City, both probably not playing as well as we'd expect them to. Man City obviously losing to Leipzig, and Liverpool got that 2-1 win over Milan. I felt like it took Liverpool a little bit longer than I was expecting for them to kick on and kill the game off. But I was surprised to see some of their bigger players starting, especially knowing the schedule that some of the bigger Premier League teams have coming into Christmas. So, but yeah, I was a bit surprised Man City lost that game. But again, I don't think they're particularly bothered because for both of them, I think they'd already qualified before those games had started. So, but a couple of results I do want to pick up on. Sheriff getting a 1-1 draw, actually finishing them in third place in their group, which I think a lot of people were quite surprised about.
Yeah,
I mean, I know that Shakhtar are probably not the best team, but knowing that they're Sheriff from the Moldovan league, aren't they?
Yeah, Moldova.
I think it's a pretty good debut campaign for them.
I mean, they beat Real Madrid. They beat them was it at home as well?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they beat Inter as well, didn't they?
No, they lost both times to Inter.
Oh, they lost both times to Inter.
Shakhtar was the other win, and then drew against them as well. So.
Yeah.
Can't say beat you at the Bernabeu. That's a
I think for them going in, they weren't expecting much. And did they get a Europa League spot?
Yeah.
I think they did get a Europa League spot. Yeah. So obviously that's fantastic for them. They were probably expecting to come out of this with nothing, and now they're pushing on in the Europa League. So I hope to see a bit more from them as they go on. I think the last result for me is obviously the 3-3 draw from us. We had the 3 points in the bag and lost it with 2 minutes left. It was disappointing. I think everywhere along the pitch it was good to see Timo Werner get back in the goals, but I think all in all it's just we're just in that like dip at the moment. We need to bounce back from it desperately, especially if we want to kick on in the league like people have been expecting us to. Dropping points over the last couple of weeks hasn't particularly been enjoyable to watch, and obviously that goal from Zenit was not particularly important for them, but that was the difference between us getting a seeded spot and an unseeded spot. So I know for me, I was extremely disappointed at the end of that game, and I know for lots of other Chelsea fans they were. But I don't think there's much more in terms of results from this week. I think pretty much everything went as we were expecting. A lot of teams had already finished the games off in game week 5, so we weren't going to get to much. So now we know we finished the group stage. I want to pose the question: who is your player of the group stage so far?
We've already had a little discussion before this, and I think we unanimously agree that Sepp Haller deserves the spot.
I think 10 goals in the group stage, obviously that's a phenomenal number, regardless to the group. Teams that are in your group putting 10 goals away in a group stage is not something many can do. And even if you look at the like regular big scorers you see in the Champions League, Lewandowski got 9, Salah got 7, Ronaldo got 6. I think, fantastic group stage for him. And I think, again, for Ajax, like finishing top of their group, scoring lots of goals. I think they've enjoyed their time in the Champions League so far this season. I definitely think they're going to have their fingers crossed that they get one of those worst teams in the next round so they can push on. Obviously, if draws go their way, we could see them potentially making another semi-final again. So, but I think it's great to see Haller showing what he's made of. I think he's definitely showing what West Ham were expecting when they bought him. And it just wasn't quite working in the Premier League. But I know he's scoring a crazy amount of goals in the Eredivisie as well. So I think the only other player we really picked up on is Sané. I think Lewandowski got 9 goals, but 5 goals, 4 assists for Sané in the group stage. Obviously, he scored a good goal in the last game. Questions over the goalkeeping, but still a good finish. You can clearly see he's got a lot of confidence in him to take on a strike like that. So I think pretty much everyone agrees that Haller has been the standout player. And intrigued to see in a 2-legged tie if they do come up against a slightly better side than they've seen so far, if he can keep scoring goals. Because obviously we know that Lewandowski only being a goal behind him, that's not a lot known. Bayern are expected to pretty much make it all the way to the final. So he's just got to keep trying to put the goals in if he wants to get close to that golden boot. But next off is team of the group stage. I think for a lot of people, they're probably going to say Bayern. I think they've looked the most convincing so far. They've just kind of eased through every game, considering their group. I say wasn't the easiest, but it still wasn't. It could have been easier with Barcelona being in it. That's obviously a team historically who could take points away from you, but obviously going 6 games, 6 wins. Ajax the same, Liverpool done the same. Any others with 6 wins? No, I think that's it.
Just those 3.
I think Liverpool have had quite a quiet Champions League, but I don't think people really expected much less from them, considering their group, especially Atletico, Porto, Milan, 6 games, 6 wins, only 6 conceded. I think they're a team that's potentially gone a little bit under the radar in the group stage, and intrigued to see how they get on with the draw going further on. What about our winners? Who do you think is going to win the Champions League this year?
Go on, Tal, you go first. Yeah.
I think it could be Liverpool.
I think Bayern.
I'm between Bayern and Chelsea, just because I know Chelsea's quality. They got a good side. They got plenty of stuff in there. Bayern have got good role, good depth. I don't see why they can't go any further. Lewandowski up top, Sané with 5 and 4. You just got a good creative squad, got a solid base at the back, and that helps. And if they get a pretty easy run through and to the final, the momentum, I can see it happening.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's quite a lot of teams who you probably say maybe aren't of the quality that we've seen, that have make up quite a lot of the rest of the pot. Because even like Lille, Ajax, who top their group, right? Obviously Ajax have been good, but Lille have been quite disappointing this year, especially in the league. But then you've got other teams like Salzburg, Villarreal, Benfica, Sporting, all going into that pot too, who you'd probably say they're nowhere near the quality of those bigger sides. So I think we're potentially going to see some an easy pathway could come up. So yeah, but I think what about Tao? What do you think?
I think I'd probably put forward two names that no one else has said. I think Man City have got a very good chance. I'd arguably say they're in a better position than they were last year. Obviously, they've topped the group. Maybe not as many convincing performances. Obviously, they did lose against PSG one of the games. They did beat them in the other one. I'd say that their team is arguably better this year than it was last year. So if they get the good route, I can see them beating a lot of the teams.
For sure.
In both sides, I think there's only the odd one or two that I don't think they'd beat over two legs. And I think as much as they get stick for the performances, I think you've got to put PSG in there as well.
With that team, definitely.
I think obviously the team now, that the attack, which on their day is one of if not the best in the world and probably the best since MSN. And you've got two sections of that MSN anyway in that team.
Yeah.
If they pull themselves together, the whole thing with Pochettino, whether he'll stay or go, if they get a new manager in, maybe if they have a bounce after the new year, I think you've got to put them in there as well, just because the quality that they do have, even
for sure,
work well together. I think definitely those two are definitely a shout as well.
Oh, for sure. And I think pretty much all of us are then in agreement that our dark horses are probably going to be Ajax. I don't see any other of them, what you'd say are worse teams, getting much further through. I think there's a lot of.
Personally, I think Sporting have got
Sporting.
They've put in some good performance. Obviously, Dortmund. Dortmund didn't have the best time against them, but I think they're another team that's gone under the radar a lot, because obviously the league win last year helped them a lot. They've got Pedro Goncalves, Coates, Paulinho, plenty of players that are good enough for the Champions League. And I think if they get a good draw in the first game, get a Lille or something, I think they could have a decent shot at it as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Ajax, I think, is definitely up there as well.
I put Villarreal down just as a little shout, because I want to go dark horse. I don't want to go the obvious one of Ajax, because I could actually see them going a long way.
Yeah.
Because they've done it before. They went to the semi-final against Spurs and were ultimately heartbroken in that crazy second leg. So Villarreal, they have a decent side. They got Danjuma, obviously from watching at Bournemouth, quality player. They've got Etienne Capoue as well, and Coquelin through the midfield. It's not the most standout names, but it works. And Emery's an experienced and good manager. You'd only question that they've been poor in the league this year, so I don't know if that league form will carry over. But if they get an easy draw, they could definitely get the quarters, and then if they put up a good two games in that quarter final,
for sure,
definitely a semi-final.
Absolutely. Well, we've before this we've prepared a mock draw. Just kind of have a look at the potential fixtures we could see. So if we start off with the first match, we've got Atletico Madrid and Juventus. What do we think? Obviously, that's going to be one of the big games that we're expecting to see. A couple of big games coming out of this draw. Knowing that there's a couple of the bigger teams who are in that pot too. But I could see that going the wire in the two legs.
Yeah, I back Juve still. I think at Atletico at the Wanda Metropolitano, I think Atletico will give them a hard game. Will give Juve a hard game and make it like a 1-0 or it would go to a 0-0. But I'd still back Juve. I'd still kind of back Juve. They've still got decent players in there, in that side. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a close one, and I'd see literally a 1-0 across both legs, or it'd be going to extra time.
Yeah.
And Madrid well without Brasco because he got a red card.
Oh yeah.
Next one, Benfica, Real Madrid. I think we all know we're pretty much expecting Real Madrid to get that one. Next one, which I think will be a fantastic game, PSG Ajax. A lot of attacking football in that game. I think that'd be
I think PSG would absolutely batter Ajax. I think it can do. Well, on the basis of form, you would probably argue otherwise, but I think definitely if a draw like that came out, I think that as much as PSG haven't played well recently, I think they would dominate.
Yeah, I just don't think I don't think Ajax's defense will be able to compete with that attack. So
it will be an absolute goal fest, though. I could see
yeah, I think so.
I could see like a 5-3 PSG if it was at PSG at home. Like, obviously PSG have a decent defense. I mean, especially if you play FIFA, if you like using Kimpembe. I see all you Kimpembe abusers out there. I'm watching you. But yeah, there's like Haller. They got Tadic.
Yeah, I think both offer a lot more going forward than I think they do defensively. I think quite a few of the players, like defensive players, PSG have signed this season, I think have probably been a little bit more disappointing than the more attacking players. But just quickly moving on, Villarreal, Manchester City. I think Villarreal could give City a decent run for their money in the home leg, but I don't see Man City losing that over 2 legs. Sporting Lille, I think that'd be a relatively close game. Could potentially be one of the games of the round of 16, even though they're not two big teams, but they're pretty level, 2 level teams. Inter Liverpool.
That would be decent.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Right over Inter.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to be one people are going to go in thinking that it's going to be a good game. We're going to get lots of goals. I think Liverpool are just going to dominate both legs.
I could see that as well.
The one everyone has been discussing, Chelsea Bayern. I think that scares me. Knowing,
oh my goodness,
if we can fix the defensive problems that we're having at the moment, I think like the 5-back system where they've got such good creativity going wide, with Kante coming back fit as well. I think we could beat them over 2 legs, but things are going to have to change from how we're playing right now. Because I think right now we've been playing poor over the last couple of weeks.
I wouldn't even argue that it's been your defence that's the problem. I'd say it's your forwards, because realistically, no matter how good your defence is, with that Bayern attack, I think any team is going to concede goals.
If we can't score enough goals against them, we will lose.
Or your Ajax, who have about 1 or 2 defenders.
Yeah,
I think you're gonna concede the odd goal to Lewandowski anyway, because realistically, he's the best player in the world, really.
Yeah.
In it, on form wise, you're always going to concede goals. It's just a matter of outscoring them. Really.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's good to see Lukaku coming back, Werner getting 2 goals and an assist. Like we saw what we did last year. Like who knows? But I think for some of these games, it really depends on what's happening in the league. Because obviously, if we're battling in the league and then having to play these Champions League games as well, who knows what injuries we're going to have? Same again with Bayern, knowing how close Dortmund are. They can't really afford to take their foot off the gas in the league, because then Dortmund could overtake them. So I think some of these games could be down to what the teams are looking like on the day.
Currently, you'd be having to back Bayern on current.
Yeah, I think so.
The current state of injuries with Chelsea, but the game's in January, so you get players back, and
we do have to get. But this is the thing, that those Premier League sides have to get through that long slog of the December and then early January fixtures.
Yeah.
So
it's actually
with
February,
FA Cup
round of 16.
I was gonna say I think it's Feb.
It's mid to late February and then early to mid March.
The Bundesliga get a break as well.
Yeah.
Rested up.
Well, it'll definitely make the game interesting. Then it will be
for sure.
Close.
And then last game, Salzburg Man United. we know how Man United can be. Who knows what they're going to look like after the Jan transfer window? Obviously, Ralph Rangnick in at the moment. I think we expect to see United win that, but I think that's one of those ones where it's like, who knows what Man United are going to look like in March time. So they're kind of in this like transition period at the moment. So I think, to be completely honest with you, their focus is going to be on being in the Champions League next season. So I don't know whether the Champions League this year is necessarily going to be their main focus, because I still think they've got a lot to improve on it in the league if they want to get close to that top four, because there's a lot of impressive teams in the Premier League this season. So I would be shocked if Salzburg go out of that as the winner, but I do think they could offer them a good game, especially over 2 legs.
I definitely think that's a tie where it's going to be decided by a late Ronaldo goal again. I think. Yeah. I think Salzburg will. I think there'll be one game. I don't think it'll matter whether it's home or away for Salzburg. That they'll give United a good game, like go 1-0.
Maybe a 1-1 or a 2-2 draw.
Ronaldo will come into Ronaldo form from this season and score like an 88th minute winner, as countless other times. So that's how I see that one.
It's just his thing at the moment, isn't it? So so they're kind of our round of 16 predictions. We'll come back and look a little bit further on into the competition when those round of 16 games are played, or maybe after the first one, or we'll wait till both legs are played. But apart from that, that's pretty much it for everything today. I know we were just going to have a brief look into the Premier League fixtures this weekend.
There's one fixture I want to talk about, and it's for the Advent calendar tomorrow when this comes out, because it's coming out tonight. We've got West Brom Reading. You got me, you've got Abby, and you've got Josh Cox as well. I'm going to be on the Instagram all day, vlogging the experience, the train down. I might get a bit wasted. We'll have to wait and see if Andy Carroll scores a 90th minute winner. But if you do, tune in for the day. We're starting at I'm going to be starting 9:30, 10 a.m. when I wake up. So come along for the journey. Should be good fun.
Yeah, well, excited to see it. But yeah, I think with the Premier League this year, there's not really much happening in terms of big fixtures. We got Brentford, Watford. That's tonight. Man City, Wolves, Chelsea, Leeds, Liverpool, Villa, Arsenal, Southampton, Man City, United tomorrow. It's a lot of big teams playing small teams, to be honest. But we know that some of these teams could come away with points. So I think that they're all going to be games to keep an eye on. And then Saturday, West Ham, Burnley, Sunday, Burnley, West Ham, Leicester, Newcastle, and Crystal Palace, Everton. I think Palace Everton will be a good game.
That will be interesting. Everton after that 2-1 win to Arsenal, you got the momentum behind you, but
a bit of momentum from it. But yeah, so apart from that, I think that's everything from us today. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back for the last episode of 2021 next week. We'll be taking a little break over Christmas, hoping to get some new things on the way for the next term for us. So we will see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.
Thank you.